Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Game-Based Learning in the World Language Classroom. The why, what, and how. We're on section 3 of my book, The How. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And if you want to help me tweak my games, come up with new ones, I can be reached at the Minecraft Education Ambassadors or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge, the Duolingo Educators Network. I'm hanging out at Roxam or at studio-nemo.com. Today, I'm going to teach you how to play Battleship or Battleship-like games to practice verb conjugation, prepositional location, place names, lots of stuff. We can do lots of stuff with this. In our previous episodes, we talked about Cluolingo a lot. So this I have touched on before in another playlist I have where I talk about adapting the guided language acquisition development techniques for the secondary classroom. And I will link to that video right after this one. But I'm going to go more in depth today. All right, so for verb conjugation, let's look at that first, and as well as looking at the entire game of Battleship. All right, choose two verbs that your students need to conjugate, maybe things they're tripping up over, because I don't know about you, but my Spanish students always forget to add the extra syllable for tu tienes. They want to say tu tenes. Okay, so here's two that I want them to work on, just typical AR verb and tener, and I gave them all the school supplies. And up at the top, I tell them how many boats to draw, and we'll go over this in detail in a moment. And then here's some sentence frames, okay? So that's an example for Spanish. You notice I tell them if they pronounce it wrong, then they're going to lose the game. All right, here's French class. This is French 1. We're working between avoir and trouver, to have and to find. Actually, same as for my Spanish class, huh? And then this is for later on in French when we're working on passé composé. They have to be able to say this in present tense and then say it in past tense. And this game I found was really, really good for hammering the difference between je mange and j'ai mangé, because I don't know about you, but my French students, they all want to say j'ai mange. They all want to pronounce the je as a j'ai, and I really need them to get the difference between that. So this was a really, really good drill and kill for that. Then when we complicate things, when I introduce all the passé composé that use être instead of avoir, the students are always confused about, well, être takes avoir, but aller takes être, okay? So this was a good way to get them really, really used to that. For my Japanese classes, verbs don't conjugate, they inflect, and actually adjectives inflect too. So here's two adjectives, okay? And we have either, yes, it's red, no, it's not red, it was red, it wasn't red. Yes, it's blue, no, it's not blue, yes, it was blue, no, it wasn't blue. So you notice there's kind of less for the Japanese because that's all I have to go through with them is the is not, was, wasn't. And then here are some verbs for Japanese. And here I wanted them to know the particle ni in front of iku. You're going to something, but you're coming from something. And then you can't see this off the side of the screen. But this was some sentence frames just so that they could remember these place names. And frankly, if they just said school ni ikimasu, I'm fine with that. Because this was all about inflecting those verbs. All right, so here's the rules. Print, like, I don't know, 100 game boards on regular paper, and that way whenever anything happens, you're like, oh my God, the lesson's going south, the students aren't listening to me, they're speaking in English. You just grab your stack of papers and say, hey, we're pivoting to this right now. Because this is a really easy, no prep thing once you've got the game boards printed out. Tell the students to grab your colored pencils or your markers, because they'll probably want a color code. They can keep track of which ships are theirs and which are their enemies. And then put students in groups of 2, okay? You might have a group of 3. You might have a couple of groups of 3. I tried to discourage that, but sometimes I get students who work really well together. Let them choose their own rules. Let them decide, is one person asking both people at the same time? Is one person asking the person on their right, and then the person on the right is asking their person on the right? However you want it to do it. But let them decide. Okay, so take the textbooks you have in the corner of the room. Okay, like here, these are all my free voluntary reading, my silent sustained reading books. Those have to be important, you know. Here's a bunch of textbooks that we never use. They're like pristine mint condition. Here's a bunch of textbooks we never use, all right? I like these textbooks, but I've got better ways to do this, all right? So I tell the students, oh, we're working out of the book today. And they're like, what? We are? We never work out of the book. I'm like, go grab it. And we use the textbooks as shielding. I have them prop up the textbooks and open it. And they shield each other's views so they can't see what they're doing. I'll show you a picture in a second. Okay. So here's how it goes. They've got the paper in front of them. And I told them to draw one boat that's 4 big, 2 boats that are 3 big, 3 boats that are 2 big, and 2 boats that are 1 big. So I don't know, let's just say I draw 1 boat here. That's my 4 big one. Let's say I'm going to draw a 2 boat here. Yes, you will get students who try to cheat and draw diagonally, but you're not supposed to. Oh, here's one of my 1 boats, and just to mess people up, here's another one of my 1 boats. You know, whatever you want to do, okay? So your first student is going to say, j'ai un crayon. All right. Oh, they missed me. I have to say raté. All right, now it's my turn, and I'm gonna say, on trouve une règle. Okay, so here I am. Let me color code. Yay! And let's say this was theirs, and I got them, and they're gonna say frappé. But color code because then it gets hard to see. Wait, this was mine, and this is what you guessed, and this is what I guessed. So make sure they color code. That'll help them. And then if they say it wrong, okay, like if they say je trouvais, they didn't conjugate it correctly. Or here they say, got the je trouvais un sac à dos. They didn't conjugate this correctly. This has to change to je trouve. So I tell the second person you're allowed to say raté because they didn't conjugate it correctly, and so they missed because who knows where they were. Sentence frames. I always give sentence frames. Your high flyers are not going to use the sentence frames. The students who are doing well are going to be happy that the sentence frames are there. They may glance at them for just to make themselves more confident, but they're going to be okay. And the students who need the scaffolding is there, and then you can claim on your yearly evaluations, hey, I differentiate from my students, and that puts you up in the distinguished track. And your students are going to learn faster anyway. So don't be afraid to have sentence frames. Okay, so here's my sentence frames for Japanese, and you notice for Japanese I give the kanji and the pronunciation, the hiragana. Okay, here's my French and my Spanish. Okay, and if you don't conjugate the verb correctly, the students are going to laugh at them, and they're going to say rate, they're going to say agua, whatever they're going to say. But generally, I find the students are very well behaved with each other because they really want to win the game. They really want to play the game. They like playing the game. So they'll give each other more chances. And heck, they're peer tutoring each other. That reciprocal teaching has a Hattie effect size of like 0.74, right? And this is so crucial. You can just sit in the middle of the classroom and eavesdrop on everyone, and you can listen to how they're correcting each other's pronunciation, and they're helping each other, and it's just really wonderful. Okay, so that's I'm going to pause here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause here, and because I want these videos to be less than 10 minutes, so I will continue this on the next video. Because I'm trying really hard to keep these videos in bite-sized 10-minute increments. So join me on the next video.